go. I gotta go live, gentlemen.
It's tight, man. Go ahead, bro. I'm ready whenever. Okay, I'm running over real quick. God damn. What happened? Something messed up? What is going on?
We in here, gentlemen. How we doing tonight?
Satin fellas.
Yeah, pretty good. Got a lot more done today than I had planned.
That's what's up, man. TK, man, why don't you start us off? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How you guys doing? TK from West Virginia, 40 years old. I'm a part-time masculinity coach and fitness coach, and I just like going with the flow.
Johnny Dumbbell, tell everybody a little bit about you.
Well, first of all, I'm Johnny Dumbbell. Check out my channel on YouTube. I need like 15 more subscribers before I can start going live. Anyway, I'm a personal trainer and life coach out here in beautiful Pittsburgh, PA, the land of three rivers. But I also do virtual training as well as, in person. But one of the biggest things, one of the reasons that I'm doing this is because, first of all, it's the only way I ever get to see you two assholes. And also, it's kind of thing where it's a way of taking my own mistakes and turning them into nostalgia and turning them into a lesson for younger men, to learn and to, follow a little bit better path than I did. Like I always tell you, I'm kind of the uncle you never wanted.
That's what's up. And let me introduce myself. My name is William, and let me welcome you to my channel. It's called William the Conqueror, where I can show you how to conquer the hearts and minds of women the world over, but only if you can first conquer yourself. Now, gentlemen, we're here tonight to talk about the impact of social media on masculinity. Now, we get together and we do these shows because we want to help young men. We want to give them a blueprint, a toolbox, a kit for masculinity that they've never had. Like, we see so much bitch ass shit on the internet, and that's really what prompted me to start the podcast and why TK and I got on it last year and started doing stuff, and why we had to add Johnny Dumbbell, because we can't sit here and complain about the stuff we see if we're not willing to do something to make a difference about it. So we call ourselves the Three Wise Men, and we're here to help you guys with any of your questions. And I know a lot of what we do is where we break down women's dating profiles and we teach you guys how to conduct yourselves around women, But that's just one aspect of being a man. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight is masculinity and being a man. And we're going to talk about the impact of social media on that. Now, gentlemen, who wants to go first tonight? Because, you know, we got some positives and negatives. So I'll let you gentlemen on the panel decide. Do we each want to give our positive and negative? Do we all three want to start with the negative so we end on a positive note? Like, how do we want to break this down for everybody, gentlemen?
Well, you know, I mean, I do kind of like to have the positive thing be the one most remembered, but you know, I think both are equally important to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, why don't we just go through, man, and each of us do, you know, what we think, like you said, Bill, what we think is a positive influence. And then after that, we'll go through and we'll each all three name off our negative influence that we think. Or vice versa, like you were saying, my bad.
Yeah, let's start with negative.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Positive note. Now, if one of you want to go first, I'll be more than happy to let you, because, gentlemen, you know how I get on a soapbox when it comes to this topic.
Like
I'll take
Stephen A. Smith masculine discussion.
I'll take the lead real quick, JC. So here's my one thing that I think is a negative influence, and both of mine kind of go hand in hand. Okay, one thing that I think that social media way it's having a negative influence on young males today in masculinity is that social media is making not that there's anything wrong with this, but it's making it seem like guys dressing in women's clothes. You got this Will Smith's son who's wearing dresses, and other guys who are wearing dresses and stuff like that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If you want to wear women's clothes, that's fine. But I just think that social media has made it too much of a norm. You know what I mean? It spread it around to where it's made guys dressing in girls' clothes and girls dressing in guys' clothes. It's made it seem like it's the norm, and it's not the norm. I don't care what anyone says. You know what I mean? And not only that, social media has many other negative effects when it comes to influencing young males, but I think that that's one of the biggest, man. It makes guys who aren't comfortable with their sexuality, it spreads that easier. You know what I mean? So when it shows that it's okay for one guy to be uncomfortable with his sexuality, it gives all guys that impression. You know what I mean? So it's on such a huge scale that it's hard to even explain. You know what I mean? Bill, you and I and JC, we come from a time where there was no internet when we were young growing up. So we kind of can sit back and see the drasticness of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the effect of it. People who didn't have the internet when they were young, like we didn't, it's just normal to them. You know what I mean? But for us, guys who didn't grow up like that, it's much more out of the normal than it is for just young males today. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree. Johnny, why don't you go next, and why don't you talk about the negative effects of the impact of social media on masculinity? And I'll go last because, gentlemen, I got a lot to say about this.
Well, I mean, I think there's two factors involved here. One factor being the effect that social media has on societal views and the very definitions of what they think masculinity is. You know, because it seems like with us, they like to keep moving the goalposts,
right?
You know, where you know, strong, liberated, you can't tell me what to do has turned into, okay, you still have to pay the bills and all that stuff, but you still don't get to tell me what to do. And so, you know, young men are kind of being conditioned, you know, to believe that happy wife, happy life mentality, where, you know, number one, you're kind of forcing him to accept that scarcity mindset. You're lucky I'm with you. Are you kidding me? You know, that kind of thing. Number one. Number two, you're, you know, setting it up for him to already lose the respect of a woman who was supposed to be able to follow his lead in the first place. Now, the other factor involved would be the effect those views have on modern men with regards to things like our self-confidence. You know, we're often described as, say, cocky and thus unattractive or off-putting, which, by the way, is feminine cap. Okay, when you're cocky, the whole thing of it is that the minute she tells you that it's a red flag, chances are turns are on. The cocky confidence, things like that. We are taught not to be confident. We're taught not to be too cocky, and so in trying not to do so, these guys are coming across not being very confident, not being very sure of themselves. And that's to say nothing of their fear of the actual nature of the rejection they face in the first place. Now, going from there, we end up dealing with things that, like recognizing our roles in the home, the society, and our economy, who leads the relationship, who pays the bills, our methodology. That's how, it affects how we relate to, how we pursue relationships and how we're supposed to conduct ourselves once we're in those relationships. And so, I think that all of those factors come together to influence young men to say, be confident, but then don't be confident. But be confident, but not too confident. But then if you're too confident, you already lost. So, hey, better luck next year. It is kind of how that comes across. They're being conditioned to that scarcity mindset and thus dependent, on the wrong side of that, on the wrong side of that line.
Check it out, JC. One other, and I'm going to let you finish. I just want to add something real quick. One other thing, that kind of adds in with what I was saying. It has given the male and the female a huge mixed signal on what their role is in life today. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of where I was going with the whole thing about, guys, the internet showing that it's normal for guys to dress in girls' clothes. It's just completely mixed up the norm of what a guy's role and a girl's role and a girl's role is. You see what I'm saying? Like that's where I was trying to get with it, kind of where you were going to a little bit.
Yeah, like for me, it's more or less how I think sometimes that they feel that the words masculinity and, masculinity and what do I want to call it?
Femininity, or
no. I was going somewhere. That's what I totally like. I just had a complete total brain fart.
It happens, bro.
I think what it is when they think masculinity, they're conditioned to believe that there's a toxicity to that because, hey, I mean, when you're trying to fit that mold and fit into the guy that you like's program, because let's face it, you're not going to try to fit into the program of a guy that you're not wanting to be with on a permanent basis. You don't care about that guy's program. You care about him being on yours. Because like you said, there's a natural order to things. And if she doesn't feel like you can lead her, she might lead you, but she's going to lead you by that, and you're going to end up spending this.
Well, yeah, and that's what I meant. What I was saying about that, the internet has gotten it so mixed up that it's showing the male youth today that it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? That our roles as male and female don't matter. You know what I mean? Is basically what it's telling the male youth today. And I don't agree with that.
Well, I remember the word I was trying to think of. I think they think that masculinity and chivalry are interchangeable, and that is not the case, especially not in this day and age.
Right.
And the thing of it is that people think chivalry and they think opening doors. They think, throwing your coat across that mud puddle and saying "milady" after everything, and that is definitely not what it is. And even if it were, remember that because there would be privileges involved with traditional chivalry the way it actually was in the old days, that there were also a line of responsibilities. But the funny thing is, whenever anybody talks about chivalry, they always talk about the well-mannered gentleman, and they never talk about the part that women have to play and their responsibility in a chivalrous society.
Right.
Look them up. I'm telling you, look up the term chivalry and the code of chivalry and tell me what you actually see, because you're going to see more than just that polite door opening thing.
And look, here's another thing too, JC. Okay. The internet is also, it's telling young men today that if they're not filthy rich and don't have nice cars and chains or, all kinds of money in their pocket or whatever, that, you're basically not keeping up with the Joneses, that you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And then that leads to guys seeing what other guys and what other people have. And then it leads to insecurities in themselves, because then they think that they're not you know what I mean? That they're not reaching home plate with where they really should be in life, or who they should be as a man, and what they should have at the time of life, at the time that they're in their life. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a really bad thing to put out there.
Well, not only that, and I mean, and there at that point, not only that, but now he's berating himself in that particular sense, even if it is internally. And so now, remember, we're taught not to be too confident, so we humble ourselves. Then we come across as not confident enough, and you know what I mean? They're not attracted to that lack of confidence. So then we try to act confident. And gentlemen, if you are not feeling absolutely confident when you're talking to that girl, do not try to fake the confidence. They can smell fake confidence like a fart in the car. And if they know you're faking the confidence, they also know that you're scared, you're timid, you're not in a situation where you're doing the choosing here.
You know, JC, I think that that's another thing that the internet portrays to young males today.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It gives them a fake sense of confidence, like, because people can be someone that they're not, you know what I mean? They can be someone that they're not on the internet. And then that gives them a false sense of security. And it also gives you a sense of insecurity when you feel like you don't have as much as these other guys out there. You know what I'm saying? Or
yeah, I mean,
because you can get this girl with your fake Facebook page with fake pictures that are all, freaking edited up, and then it gives guys also a false sense of security, and masculinity, because then they think that they have skills with women that they don't fucking have. You know what I mean?
Well, that, and I think that the wrong message is being sent in those in that regard too, because you want the man to be a man until he has to be a man, and by that I mean, like, remember, he's going to be standing up for you, but he's also going to be letting you know, like, look, this is my ship. We're running this way. You can't expect to be the leader outside the house when you're not even the leader in the house.
Yes. And it also, the internet gives people a false sense of having knowledge also that they don't really have. You know what I mean? The worst thing about a man is a guy who cannot admit when he's wrong. If a guy can't admit when he's wrong, then he can't be trusted to tell the truth about other things, like the real life knowledge that he may actually have or not have. You know what I mean? Because if he's insecure enough to not admit that he's wrong, then he's going to be too insecure to, say when he doesn't know how to do something, or he does not know how to do something. You know what I mean? And the internet gives guys a false sense of security in that way, I think, because you can get by with being someone that you're not really. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I mean, and I think that goes back to recognizing and playing the very role that we're supposed to play, and this is where it extends to the economy. We're supposed to, like you said, be at a certain point at certain stages of life. And we also have that role in society where it's probably, even if it were a simple matter of heterosexual male and female only in this country, which it's not, but even if it were, would still present a world of complications that is going to take some communication and really a lot of insight on our part as gentlemen to sift through.
And
because remember, we're dealing with a species, not a species. We're dealing with a gender that knows how to mentally engineer and steer the situation. Now, the crazy part of it is the guy who can see through that is the guy that she's going to be the most attracted to if in an interpersonal relationship. That is the guy she's not going to be using for any resources. That's the guy that she's actually going to have respect for. And I think a lot of guys kind of forget that.
That's what I meant, like when I was saying a few minutes ago about how, when we were young, we didn't have internet. When we were teenagers, because we didn't have internet and stuff like that to look at all the time, to see what other people have and where they're at that point in their lives, which most of it's fake anyways. But, when we were teenagers, we didn't worry about stuff that we didn't have or stuff that we wanted near as much as young males do now today. You know what I mean? Because they're so conditioned to think that that's where they're supposed to be at in life. And those are the things that they're supposed to have. And, you're not a real man, or you're not where you're supposed to be at in life if you don't have these things financially, you know what I mean, or have these material things. And that's the bad thing about the internet today with young males.
Well, that's just it. And even if it isn't a matter of your masculinity, which, I mean, believe me, fellas, it really isn't. But even if it were a matter of your masculinity, you know, those kinds of things guys got to realize are subjective. You know, there's a reason why, you know, a lot of guys can get the kind of girls that you thought only would get into the car with the guy with the Porsche. But we've seen douchebag Mike, who hasn't had a job in 3 years and may or may not have 2 or 3 baby mamas. And those same girls would go for him too.
Right.
So, that's the one thing that I try to tell these men. It's really not about the money. It's about your fucking attitude. The thing of it is that douchebag Mike might have the same qualities as douchebag, I don't know, what are the names? Drive the Porsche now, Braden or some shit. Whatever. The point of it is he might have the same actual level of confidence and he can, you know, pull the girls that way too. Now, here's the difference. The reason that these girls, and we've talked about this before, the reason that these girls are going for those guys that on social media, you're saying are the douchebags, the assholes, the losers. They're going after them not because of their social status. They're going after them because these guys have the level of confidence that gets her biology going and makes her believe that he has the stronger genes and is thus better for mating purposes. Billy, tell him.
Right. But what I'm saying, though, is that a female really doesn't have that knowledge about a guy. I have to say it. A female doesn't really have that knowledge about a guy when she's just talking to him on the internet. You know what I'm saying? She's only seeing what he's showing her. And that's kind of why I linked it to being a threat to young males and masculinity today, because it puts a false confidence into young guys. You know what I mean? Because like I said, they're portraying themselves as someone they're really not. And then it also gives them a sense of insecurity because they think that, you know, they're not up to par because they don't have things that other guys have. You know what I mean? That's kind of why I related it that way.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, on the surface, it really does look like that too when you're that young. You know, when you start to see it happening, especially when you're in your early mid-20s, you really start to see it ramp up. You know, you actually do start to believe that is really the main basis of it. And listen, guys, this is why I tell you, it's going to take those years of confusion, of heartache, of figuring out who you are, of self-discovery. But believe me, if you spend those years discovering who you are, you won't have to spend those years discovering how to get with whoever they are.
Now, gentlemen, sorry, I got a little off track there. And I had to restart. I appreciate y'all keeping the show going. But if we're talking about the impact of social media on masculinity, and at first we're talking about the negative impact, first thing that comes to my mind, red pill. Second thing, manosphere. Third thing, incels. Fourth thing, passport, brothers. Should I keep going? Because the bitch ass just continues to grow. These guys are on here trauma bonding with each other over how they allowed women to treat them. It just blows my mind. I can't believe they're on here whining and crying and looking for validation and support from other men when they're not being led by their libido, that is, because most of these guys on here look at what these pictures that women post on social media, the pictures they post on Instagram, the pictures they post on TikTok. They like them, they heart them, they slide in DMs. They are weak and pathetic, and they're not even really men at all because they're led by
and worst of all, they cash app them.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe it. Like I said, a lot of this bitch assness I blame on social media.
And you know what, man? And this brings me back to something that I really wish that I would have said was a negative effect, but I'm going to say it now. One of the main negative effects is that the internet allows, like you just said, guys who are feeling sorry for themselves to get together in a group and feel sorry for each other together. You know what I mean? And, yeah. And it's fucking pathetic, man.
The one thing I'm going to go ahead and disagree with, though, the red pill really isn't that. I think what you're describing there is the black pill. The red pill guys are more along the lines of just identifying female behavior and noticing those patterns. That's why they're saying, hey, this is what you need to wake up and notice. That's all about everything that I've ever talked to you about, Bill. It's about recognizing behavioral patterns, engaging interests, or lack thereof. Now, black pill, those guys are the ones that are like, and I mean, I don't like to use the color coding either, but this is what the definitions on social media are. The black pill guys are the ones that are just saying, screw it, I'm not dating anymore, and if I need it, I'll just go buy it. You're going to pay for it either way. Yeah, screw it. Those are the guys that are sitting there commiserating in the comments. Those are the guys that are sitting there, you know, still walking down to get their Sunday newspaper that they still print for some reason and a cigar. You know, those are the guys that said, screw it.
Johnny, the red pill, okay, they're not giving young men any answers. All they're doing is trauma bonding over how they've allowed women to treat them. You say they want to understand a woman's behavior, but
they're showing you how to recognize the behavior and respond to it.
On this podcast, the things that women do don't matter, because if she's doing something against your standards, you get rid of her. So
right, that's part of that.
All her little behaviors and stuff don't matter until they conflict with your standards, and then, hey, everybody wants to be a man until it's time to be one, right? Until it's time to stand on business. When that woman is doing something you don't agree with, you get rid of her. It doesn't
That's exactly
matter
part of it.
why she does the things she does, Johnny. You get rid of her.
Yeah, that's exactly what it teaches. You're right.
So, look, we're talking about the impact of social media on masculinity. And, you know, TK, these guys, the trauma bonding, I don't get it. Instead of looking for solutions, they want to make each other feel better. Well, you know what? Being a man doesn't always feel good. It's not always warm and comfortable. And each and every one of you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's what real masculinity is. It's when you show up and stand on business when you're sick and you're not feeling good, but you know you got people counting on you. It's when you stick to your principles when all the people around you are flexible and compromising and going along with what's easy and good for everyone else. Being a man is being a leader, being able to tell people, hey, that's not the way to do things. We need to do them this way to get this stuff done. And and being a
look, man. So here's an example, Bill. Okay, a friend of mine, her husband. Okay, he's kind of one of those guys, man. That's pathetic. You know what I mean? Like he's so desperate for female attention that it just oozes out of his pores. So these girls that are good looking or whatever, they'll message him and they will have him transfer money on their Cash App or whatever. And they'll have him deposit money and transfer money and all this bullshit, dude. And because they're good looking girls and he's desperate for some kind of female companionship, he'll deposit their money. Well, now he's got fucking the IRS coming after him because he has to pay taxes on all that money that wasn't even his, that he transferred for these random females that he didn't even know. So there's another huge example of the negative effect that that the internet is having on males today and the youth and masculinity. Females are able to scam guys so easily now since the internet. It's not even funny, because there's so many desperate guys out there that are so desperate for female companionship, they're willing to do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and that's the hard part, because
huge negative effect.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, because as projectors, sometimes women are right and sometimes women are wrong in their assumptions of how we'll handle things. In this case, yeah, they're probably correct, because if they can incite some emotion or incite that dopamine rush, he'll continue to go ahead and shell out that cash. Because she knows that if somebody was able to do that to her, she might be willing to, whether it's cash or not, she would be willing to shell out whatever resource that person is trying to get from her. if she knows that she would do this, she's going to know that she can use that against him if he's that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think all of us have started talking to a female on Messenger or the internet or whatever. And, you know, you might be having a decent conversation with her, and then out of nowhere, she tries to throw some sob story on you about how her kids don't have food to eat or how she doesn't have money to buy them Christmas presents. And she wants you to buy her a GameStop card or some kind of fucking card and send it to her. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of effect that I'm talking about. You know, some guys are so desperate for companionship, man, that they just fall right into those traps, man. And it's really sad, you know, just like the guy I'm talking about. You know, he didn't give her any money himself. He just transferred it for her constantly. But it showed that he had all that money in his account and was transferring it himself like he made it, you know, in his living or whatever, like his income. So now he has to pay taxes on all that money he transferred for a good looking woman, just so he had some conversation with a good looking woman, you know.
Gentlemen, as a recovering simp myself, I have to say that it is a damn good thing that 20 years ago I was flat broke all the time, because if I had money, I probably would have fallen victim to that kind of thing myself. Luckily, I didn't have shit to steal, so, you know.
Oh, bro, I'll say right away, firsthand. I mean, I've been one of those guys, man, who gave just entirely too much to females. You know what I mean? And I learned my lesson for it too. You know, you'll
especially if you're doing it for all, and if you're all doing it for the wrong reason. And fellas, come on, we all know if you're giving her money for all the wrong reasons. If you're giving it for all the wrong reasons, you're probably going to wind up with all the wrong results.
Right. Yep.
Now, gentlemen, I don't have a problem with the woman starting an OnlyFans. She should be able to do with her body whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, I just won't commit to her.
My problem is with these bitch ass dudes that go to onlyfans.com and sign up for a subscription because they're desperate, thirsty, and needy, and need to look at her body, need to have her comment, need to have her. Some of these guys book private video chats with these women and pay thousands of dollars for the privilege to be finessed by them. It makes me absolutely sick because, hey, TK, Johnny Dumbbell, we could let everybody know on the internet right now. All of us men, we had a meeting. We got together. Not one of us has an OnlyFans account. That's for them simps, suckers, and squares. Men don't do that kind of behavior. So,
and here's the thing, and like you kind of touched on, Bill, you know, you can't even really blame the girls who do it, because hell, I'll be the first one to tell you, if I could go on camera, take my shirt off, and have somebody drop me a 50, if you think for 1 second I wouldn't do it, I would. I mean, hell, man, you know, if that's all it takes for me to make some cash, shit, I can't get mad at these ladies, man. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But while I won't get mad at you, I also won't get married to you.
See, I don't think that there's a problem either with that, with women earning money on the internet if they want to show their body. The negative effect I think it's having is the ability for them to scam men out of money in certain situations. You know what I mean? I think in OnlyFans, you know, a guy goes into it knowing what he's getting into and knowing what he's going to have to pay for. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't really blame a female for that. It's the scams. You know what I mean? The companionship and the conversation that only leads into, can you give me money or can you send me money? You know, that's such a terrible thing that the internet has led us into these days. It's not even funny.
Come on, TK. What's more American than taking stupid people's money?
Well, yeah, you know, you're right. I mean, that's the USA, man, the land of the free. I guess, you know, you can make money any way that you can. So
like I said, gentlemen, I don't have a problem with these women that want to get online and show their bodies. So would you, Johnny Dumbbell, would you, TK, would you guys shoot content with an OnlyFans model?
I better be getting a cut of the action. Listen,
yeah.
You're not going to be the only one in this. You're not going to be the only one in this scene making money. All right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If there was money to be made, hell yeah, I would.
All right, that's what's up.
But I mean, if you're telling me that the only thing that I get is the privilege of having, whoa, well, geez,
Yeah.
princess.
No thanks.
No, I'm out. But yeah, I mean, hey, if I'm going to get a cut of the proceeds, I'm good. I'm in.
So we have, I think we've went over the negative impacts of social media on masculinity, all the bitch assness, all the thirst traps, the liking of the pictures of women you're never going to get a chance to see without their clothes on, the DMs that y'all slide into because you don't understand that no response is a response, the tricking online where you're transferring money for women you hardly know just to get a crumb of their attention because you think she's pretty. So we talked about all the bitch assness tonight, gentlemen. Now let's fucking flip this coin and let's talk about the positive impacts of social media on masculinity. If you want, I'll go first. And I'll tell you, positive impact of social media on masculinity are shows like this one right here where
Fuck me, man. I was going to say that.
And mentor young men to be better versions of themselves. The 3 wise men. That's one of the positive impacts of social media on masculinity, gentlemen. The people.
Yeah, I mean, you have the luxury of learning from our podcast the things that took years, money, pride, our dignity, blood, our sweat, our tears. They took all of those things from us for us to learn the hard way. What you can learn with social media if you just keep tuning in every Monday and Thursday, fellas.
All you gotta do is put a Q in the chat. Dog, I have came up from nothing more times than I can count. I am the American redemption story. I have been arrested more times than I can count. I have disappointed people I've loved, and I have came back to conquer it all. And I am here to help each and every one of you that have the balls to reach out to us and say, hey, I'm doing some bitch ass shit and I need help with it. We got you. That's what we're here for.
Most of all, we're modest.
Yeah, that was going to be my well, not the exact one, but my positive effect that the internet is having on masculinity today was the example of how now we can spread the knowledge of physical fitness and keeping your body into shape, and information about how to keep your hormones in check and how to get your testosterone up for workouts. I think that's been a huge positive effect on male masculinity today, because again, when we were young, and we wanted to know something about working out or exercising or going to the gym, lifting weights, whatever, we had to go through a book, or we had to learn it hands-on by going to the gym and, interacting with someone who had knowledge of that. Now you can get on the internet and you can almost find out anything that you want to about the male body, masculinity, exercise, and how to keep your body into shape. You know what I mean? And be a guy of pinnacle physical fitness. You know what I mean? So.
You're right, gentlemen. We used to have to get encyclopedias to look up information, and now we got Google. We used to have to actually walk up to a woman and introduce ourselves the way our parents taught us to and have a conversation. Now we just text. We DM. We used to have to put.
We had Joey Tribbiani so we could practice our best. How you doing?
How you doing? So, Johnny, you want to give us a positive impact of social media on masculinity, since we spent so much time talking about all the negatives tonight?
I think a lot of young men need to learn to use it to their advantage. You know, instead of liking that girl's bikini pic, instead of trying to, show people whether you got the rock hard abs or whether you can make the world's, greatest big, overstuffed calzone, which, I mean, I got to tell you, sounds wonderful. I think the important thing is that you should be able to use the internet and social media, especially channels like channels on YouTube. Take advantage of that to not only learn how to work on the modern day electric cars that we know so little about nowadays, but learn how to work on the older cars too. Learn how to fix a broken shoe. Learn how to fix a broken chair. Learn how to, mount your TV on the wall yourself instead of calling somebody over and paying them, $60 or $75 an hour to do it.
Yeah.
The thing of it is that learn how to eat. I mean, you not having a father growing up is no longer an excuse for you not knowing how to mount a shelf on the wall.
Right.
You have YouTube that can show you how to do it. And if you want to watch a video of a woman showing you how to do it, I'm sure they're there. They're out there. If you want to watch a video, I don't care. Whatever you need to see, use that resource to, learn how to do things with your hands. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't give a damn if you're a patent attorney. You should still know how to nail a shelf to a wall.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. When we were youngsters, we had to learn stuff by doing it hands-on. No matter whether it came to talking to women, no matter what it was, we had to learn hands-on, or we had to dig into a book to be able to learn the information that we wanted. And now it's just there at the touch of your finger. You know what I mean? So guys should be taking advantage of that, man.
Yeah. And I say that to say this: in learning how to do those things around the house, you're going to gain a feeling of self-sufficiency. Yeah. And guess what, fellas? That's where self-confidence begins. It doesn't begin from girls looking at you and telling you you're cute. Whether they ever did or not doesn't matter. That confidence comes from the inside. It starts off at about this little golf ball sized feeling in your chest, okay? It is your job, with every heartbeat of everything that you do to better yourself, to make that golf ball grow into a baseball, make that baseball grow into a football. The point is that you've got to be able to fill your sense of being so much with the feeling of self-confidence and self-sufficiency that you are not out there looking for someone into whose life or program, so to speak, that you fit. You will have your own program. You will have your own routine. You will have your own life to live and way to live it. And if someone, a potential romantic partner, fits into that, fantastic. If not, you're going to keep on that path.
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself, boys.
There shouldn't really ever be a time where a guy says, I don't know how to do something. You know what I mean? Or I don't know how to do that, because you can learn anything that you want nowadays with just a touch of a button, like I said, so there's no excuse anymore. No. There's no excuse for guys to say, I don't know how to do that or
dude,
whatever.
I'm a personal trainer, and I learned how to change the wheel bearing on a Chevy Malibu by watching YouTube. Oh, and having my dad stand behind me, and I said, don't say anything unless you see me doing something incorrectly. And he never said anything, so I must have done it right.
Yeah.
Hey, as men, there should be nothing.
It was a fun night,
we
too.
Can't do. Not a thing. We should be able to change wheel bearings. I don't know if y'all remember a few months ago, I played the video of me changing a strut in the blizzard.
I forgot about that, yeah.
That's part of being a man. That's part of manhood, is no matter what is thrown at you, you can conquer it.
And by the way, fellas, if you subscribe to William the Conqueror, you can see that and all other kinds of instructional videos to show you how to deal with things in life, mechanical or otherwise.
Yeah. And look, man, that takes me back to what I was saying before. I think that is probably one of the biggest negative effects, man, is that the internet gives guys the impression that it's okay to not be masculine, that it's okay to be weak and snivelly. To be a fucking crybaby, you know what I mean? Because if you are, there's going to be someone out there to coddle you on the internet, someone to pat your back, and like Bill said, you know what I mean, have a sympathy party for you. And I think that's one of the biggest negative effects, man, is it tells young guys today that it's okay to be weak and fucking snivelly, you know what I mean? And it's not.
Hey, TK, some of these people, you got to realize we can't save these guys, and we need to just purge these motherfuckers, dog. We need to get rid of them.
Yeah, we do, man. Yeah, we do.
Masculinity, man. They love
Well, look, man.
represent with us real men who stand on business.
Well, look, I'll tell you like this, bro. When something happens in this country, which it's almost inevitable that it's going to, the weak will be thinned from the herd very fast when civilization is not civilized anymore. You know what I mean? And then those guys who, stood on being fucking weak their whole lives, man, they're going to get weeded out so fast it's not even funny.
All right. Well, you know what, TK, let's not get off track here because let's keep this about the impact of social media on masculinity and not about the way things are going to go when the shit hits the fan, dog. But, I absolutely appreciate the insight. Now, back to positive effects, because we always want to end on a positive note. There is hope for each and every one of these bitch ass dudes doing bitch ass stuff, because like you said, and Johnny said, we have resources now. You guys have access to mentors who want to see you do better, who have the knowledge that you're lacking, and who are willing to share it with you if you just show how you want to be a student and start asking questions. Now, every one of these shows we do, no matter whether we're talking about dating and women or we're speaking on masculinity, each and every one of our social medias are posted in the bio. So you can reach out to TK. You can reach out to Johnny. You can reach out to me. And there's no excuse why you can't get the help you need to stop doing bitch ass stuff and start standing on business. So I think the fact that the resources and look, we're not the only ones out there. I mean, we know us men are far and few between, but there are other men like us that want to see young men do better. So even if it's not us, even if you don't resonate with somebody on this panel, you should use the resources available to you and find somebody who can mentor you on how to be a better man.
Yeah, I mean, I would say start with your father, your older brother, if you're lucky enough to have one or both of those. But one of the things that I tell people, even if you don't have those, especially if you're a career person, you're in that part of your life where you're working full time. I don't even know if I want to say necessarily make friends, but at least make acquaintances and make sure that you have frequent conversations with people that are more successful than you. There's always something you can learn, whether it's a habit that you can subtly pick up without anything being said at all, or an actual tip or a strategy that they can actually give and share with you, that made them help make them successful. The point is that by being around success, at least equal to or greater than your own, can beget more success, for you and possibly for the people around you too. Because remember, while they'll benefit you, they'll benefit them too. This is not, we're not tigers roaming the earth solitary. Okay. Men.
Now, gentlemen, before we wrap this up tonight, is there anything else you'd like to add about the impact of social media on masculinity? TK, why don't you start us off?
I just think that the internet today, man, it makes it a lot easier for guys to obtain and retain information, that we didn't have years ago. So like John was saying, man, I think that guys should be utilizing that to the fullest effect, man. You know what I mean? That's my opinion on it.
Johnny Dumbbell.
I think that it's pretty easy to make a case for the concept of, yes, I'm going to say it, hypergamy, when you realize that women have always had more and more readily available options, than we did, even before the invention of the internet, let alone social media. But now, if you don't believe that it is a possibility that you are just one of the many drops in a bucket. Go look at the last thirst trap, the hottest girl on your Facebook post, and ask yourself if you commented how beautiful she was underneath that photo. What is the likelihood that she's even going to see the comment, let alone be like, oh my God, I can't believe he thinks I'm beautiful. Let me jump into his DMs and tell him that I'd love to date him. The point that I'm trying to make here is that it was already difficult for us because we had those, we had that, we're not nearly as selective. We already had that problem before. Now you're dealing with that same problem, only she has far more options and far more reach than she would have had in 1985. So couple that with the fact that now, if you're trying to reach out to somebody, you're trying to stand out to somebody, I would even tell you, and I know Bill's going to disagree with me on this one, but don't do the dating sites. Meet them in person. If you want to do the dating sites, fine. Let that be your extra line that you throw out there hoping to catch a big one. Well, not a big one, but a good one. But get good at talking to people face to face, especially in this day and age. If you know how to make a woman laugh when you talk to her face to face because that was the organic matchup that you made, you already have an advantage over those guys that spend most of their lives like this. And the younger a man you are, the more you need to heed this advice.
Yeah. And look, man, no one raindrop created the flood. You know what I mean? So guys, you need to remember that if you're joining into something on the internet, no matter whether it's positive or it's negative, you're helping that topic or that situation snowball if you join into it. You know what I mean? Whether it's positive or it's negative, it doesn't matter. So that's something to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm going to leave you with a
The
quote
more
from
you
Billy.
give life to something, the more life it has. You know what I mean? Whether it's negative or positive. And that's the thing about the internet, is that even stuff's negative on there, people give it that life. So it just snowballs,
Yeah, and I mean the biggest thing I'll tell you, and building on the fact that we want to learn how to be able to do things with our hands, I'm going to quote fellow Pittsburgher Billy Gardell: "Young men, learn to work on your car. No one has ever gotten laid in the back of an iPhone."
That's right, boy. Yep.
Gentlemen, I just want to say that we should be using social media as a tool, as a way to make ourselves the best version of ourselves possible. And if you're wasting your time on Instagram commenting baddie under woman after woman's thirst trap that they're posting, you need to get some standards in your life, my dude. You got some things that you need to work on. And that's not what this is about. But I just want to say in closing that we are here to help each and every one of you that need it. Reach out to us. Tell us what you got going on. We got you. So that is the positive impact of social media on masculinity, is you have mentors like the three wise men that care about you and want to see you do better. And we're here to help. So take advantage of the tools and resources that are on the internet, and don't be out here trauma bonding and whining and complaining about how you allowed a woman to treat you, looking for other men to validate your feelings on that. Because you know what? Let me just shut up right there. Just don't. We can get into that some other time.
No, you're right though, man. I mean, you are.
And remember, fellas, sometimes that personal growth starts with getting physically fit. If you're looking to get physically fit, I offer several services, not only in person, not only virtually, but I can actually even pre-record and tailor a workout program specifically for you and your needs. All it takes is one free, no obligation consultation, and you can reach me at the link Bill put below.
Yeah.
I just want to say I did the dumbbell 6-minute core workout today. And look, I don't want to take my shirt off and break the internet, but I'm just saying, my dude, the workouts you put together, I do them myself, and I'm a beast. So
they're a lot of fun to do sometimes.
each and every one of them videos you put out, they challenge me to do more and do better and do another set and do a few more reps. And I just really appreciate all the positivity you're putting out there, not just for me, but all the young men that come across the Johnny Dumbbell YouTube channel.
Yeah, there's very little that you can't do as long as you believe it.
Yeah, I tried here over this past weekend to put up a couple of short workout tutorials, but they didn't load properly. But I'm going to be doing the same thing here soon myself, putting up some small workout tutorials, just some quick home workouts with, your own body weight and dumbbells and stuff. If you guys want to look into my page, like and subscribe or whatever, man, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of physical fitness education too, just like JC. So check out either of our pages.
Appreciate that.
Actually, go both. Yeah.
Forget that because, I validate myself. I don't seek validation, so I don't pander for likes and subscribes. I forget to tell people to like the stream. I forget to tell people to subscribe to the homies on the panel so we can get them streaming live just like me. So I appreciate you bringing that up since I'm remiss in my duties as host tonight. Now, hey, gentlemen, let's wrap this up. We can have us a quick little session after we end the stream, but I just want to thank anybody for watching. And either you gentlemen have anything to add to this tonight?
No, I'm good, man.
All right. So we're going to be back.
Gentlemen,
Johnny?
sun's going to... all right, good.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I was just going to say, sun's going to shine tomorrow. Either way, you might as well do the same.
Yep.
We're going to be back Thursday night. It's been a minute, but we're going to be breaking down Bumble dating profiles and teaching you young men on how to read between the lines to the subtleties and nuances that these women put on their online dating profiles. Because we're here to teach you that the things these women say publicly, that's not typically what they respond to.
The womanese translation.
The womanese translation. Johnny, hey. Johnny Dumbbell, before we end this tonight, do you want to please?
Yeah. So, okay. The one thing you've got to remember is that not everything they say is going to be everything they mean. I tell you all the time to bottom line their actions, but remember that there are still phrases that go with those actions. They may not match, but one does lead to the other. One of the things that a lot of guys don't really realize until we hit our early to mid-30s is that we've heard the same phrases from very different girls from very different walks of life. And whether it's once or twice or it's 2 or 3 dozen times, we've all fallen for these hook, line, and sinker at some point. One of the ones that you'll notice, and I got to give a shout out to my dude Donovan Sharp on this one because he was on point for this. When she says, and we've all heard this, I want to take things slow. Now, the translation may or may not include, I want to keep banging my ex, but I still want you to take me out for free food and drinks. The thing of it is that girls have a set of rules, right? The fact of the matter is, especially younger ladies, they will break their rules for the man that they're actually attracted to. The whole, I don't do that on the first date. What she's saying is, I don't do that on the first date unless you got my biology going to the point where I just can't help it and I'm going to do it on the first date.
She means I'm not going to do that on the first date with you.
Right.
Because, Johnny, I can't even tell you about all the stuff that I've done on a first date with women because women, they're very private. And I'm not trying to put any specific business out there, but I can tell you I've had a lot of first dates that have ended in success. So let me just move on.
The thing of it is that they call it falling in love for a reason. If you're falling, you can't stop yourself from falling. So when you say I want to take things slow, that means that you have the ability to apply the brakes. And if you're able to apply the brakes, you're not falling anywhere.
All right, gentlemen. So we'll be back Thursday night. And if anybody has any questions, reach out to us. Our links are in the bio. We appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you like the stream and show us some love, and we out.
Peace.